Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Rick dropping in on you. Hope everybody's having a good day. I've been rolling for a minute today. For those of you who missed it, go over to the Black Voice channel and you can see my contribution to love and my take on it and how it's impacted me, how I'm dealing with where I'm at now, and a bunch of other stuff. So you can check it out. Um, it's entitled. It's on the Black Voice channel, and it's entitled um, "Valentine's Day: Romance versus Love: A Look into My Life." So anyway, that's that. So here we are. It's Transformational Tuesday. Before I get started, there's some heavy stuff that I need to share with you. I want to get it out of the way. I'm excited about it. I'm always excited when I think I have created something that might be useful to somebody. Everybody knows that I've been pushing the 7-day online business launch course. We also know that um, it's going up at the end of this month from $397 to $595. For today only, I have reduced the cost today only to 207. Now the 207 doesn't include the added bonus of two uh, follow-up sessions with yours truly. Those sessions are $450 a piece that I'm giving, but it's not included in the 207. But you still have the option to do the 397 and get the two $450 things. The package itself is going to show you how to put yourself online and create revenue streams. Not a revenue stream, but revenue streams. It's a watch and repeat thing. I've done it for years. I've done it for almost everything. Every idea I've come up with, I've launched online since I decided that I would use the internet. Even if it ended up being something that we follow through offline, it started online. And I'm helping a lot of people get their businesses off and online. So I want to show you how to do that. So I've been you're going to get the lectures from the classes I've actually taught. So you get to see me teach it, but you get the course I designed, which I designed to be a self-paced course. You're going to get that uh, along with the lectures. So it's definitely worth it. Now, here's the thing. After today, it's going back to $397. At the end of the month, 2 weeks from now, it's going to $595. And then we're moving forward from there. It's worth it. It's going to be online. It's going to be great. I'm excited about it, but I'm also wanting people to get in while they can. So today, 207, tomorrow, 397, next, 14 days, 595, and it's worth way more than that. But anyway, that's that. Now, also, this is even bigger. You've been hearing me talk about the Legacy Wealth Academy masterclass, and this is a 6 to 18 month course, the most comprehensive course that I've been able to uncover on wealth building. It touches everything. It touches all the things that the hitters have. It has interviews with the major hitters. It has lectures with the major hitters. It has book um, referrals, and so much more. Everything from insurance to asset diversification, asymmetric risk reward, compounding, compound growth, indexing, and so much more. All of this stuff is going to be in here. You're going to find out how you can start with as little as $10 a month and actually start working and grow and build and get somewhere. But here's the thing: if you don't start, you're never going to get there. You can't say, well, I don't have enough, so I'm not going to try. You're going to have to start somewhere. What I can tell you is some of the best accomplishments I've made, I started at the ground level. And it looks so minuscule, so mediocre in the way I think. I think grand. And to look at where I was starting, it was like, oh, no. But the thing is, if you don't get started waiting on some big opportunity to happen or some windfall to come, you lose. So what's happening now is this class has gone up to its full price. For the longest, I kept it at its introductory price, which was $997. Last week, as promised, it went up to $25.95. For today only, I'm dropping it to the promo price of $595, which I did for Super Bowl. But I'm going to do it again today for $595. After the day, it's going back to $25.95. That's where it's going to stay. The people who really want to invest in themselves are going to get in and get on it. But I'm offering it today only. Now, that's out of the way. Transformational Tuesday. Anybody that's followed me know how important I believe the human mind is. The thing is, most of us don't understand the power of our minds. We don't guard and protect our minds the way we need to. We struggle with behavior. We struggle with decision making. We struggle with choosing the right people to have in our circles. We struggle with so many things because we don't value our mind. When you start to value your mind, you start to be very careful about the things that have the ability to impact your mind, to impact your thinking, to impact the way you move. Um, One of the most powerful passages of scripture that I literally look at because I connect it with modern psychology. And that is Second Corinthians chapter 10, beginning with verse 3, going through verse 5. And it says, though we walk in the flesh, we are not, though we walk in the flesh, we do not war according to the flesh, for our weapons are not carnal, but mighty in God for pulling down strongholds. And then it gets real interesting. It says, casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing every thought into captivity into the obedience of Christ. It says, though we walk in the flesh, we do not war according to the flesh, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they are mighty in God. Now, take the religiosity out of it and understand the power of the divine creator of this universe, and that the breaking through of bounds and boundaries and walls and everything that's standing against you starts in the mind. It says, casting down arguments, ideas, presentations, words spoken, casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. So what's the knowledge of God is this thing that you were created for greatness, that in every searching of God is the explanation that his creation was designed for greatness, to be a representation of God. So if you were designed to be a representation of God, you were never designed to be mediocre. You were never designed to be average. You were never designed to be just existing. You were never designed to be surviving. Now, what happens is, as the design is thwarted, as you move further and further away from the order of the design, as you move further and further away from the natural order of the design, it becomes more thwarted. It becomes more frustrated. You become less effective. You become less powerful. You become easier manipulated. You become lost in your thinking, and you look up and you're nowhere close to what your purpose is. But here's the beauty of it. You can discover your purpose by managing what you engage, managing your mind, casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. If I'm speaking in modern terms and talking about the subconscious mind, I'm saying guard your gates. Same thing. I'm saying be careful of what you consume, what you allow to come into your gates. What you allow to come into your gates is going to be a mechanism of programming your subconscious. Whatever your subconscious is programmed to do, it will produce. It controls 96% of your behavior. You're not going to have something moving in your subconscious in a consistent flow and then be consistently operating opposite of that idea in your real life. It doesn't happen. 96% of what you think about it. One of the things I like to use is the drive home. The drive home you make every day. How many times have you gotten in your car, took off, and got to your destination home and can't remember the last 10 to 15 minutes of the drive? You go, did I run that red light? Did I stop at the stop sign? And the truth is, you didn't run the red light. You stopped at the stop sign. Your subconscious has done it so many times. It knows it. It's taken over. You're on the phone. You're daydreaming. You're thinking and worried about what you're going to do when you get home. If you're a man, you're worrying about what baby's got waiting on you, what you're going to have to do, your honeydews. If you're a woman, you're worrying about what I'm going to do, what these kids talking about when I get home. You're worrying about what the boss said at work. You're worrying about all these things. You're on the telephone in a deep discussion about something, and you look up and you're at home. Your subconscious did that. Your subconscious not only controls your behavior, but also your decision making. Most of the decisions you make throughout the day are made on a subconscious level. They aren't given real serious thought. They are naturally done based off of the constructs and the paradigms that are shaped inside of the subconscious. So then what must you do? You must conquer your mind. If you're ever going to achieve greatness, if you're ever going to reach a level of transformation, if you're ever going to do something exceptional and extraordinary and phenomenal in your life, you're going to have to conquer your mind. You're going to have to conquer your mind. You're going to have to remove all the limiting beliefs. You're going to have to remove all the ideas and thoughts that are opposed to the things that you want to do in this life. You're going to have to move in a way that allows you to stand up and become and be what it is that you want to be. You're going to have to conquer your mind. You're going to have to master your mind. You're going to have to literally go inside of your mind, pull out all of the negative thinking, all of the negative self-talk, all of the limiting ideas and beliefs, all the things that say you can't do it, all the things that said you're not worthy of it, all the things that says this is all it'll ever be for you, all the things that says that poverty is your lot in life. You're going to have to pull out all that stuff and you're going to have to replace it with positive things. You're going to do it and do it until you reprogram it. Now, here's the beauty of it. Once you conquer your mind, once you reprogram in your mind, then you need to set it free. You need to unleash it. Why? Because the mind's going to go out and find the opportunities. The mind unleashed with a positive force behind it is going to go out and find the way that you can't see sitting in front of you. The mind is going to go out and discover the opportunities that are there for you to excel. But you're going to have conquered it first, mastered it first, replaced all that negative thinking, all that negative ideas, all that downward engagement in negative energy, and you're going to have to replace it with the positive, with the belief that anything is possible, with the belief that I can excel, with the belief that I can do the extraordinary, the phenomenal, with the belief that I have barely scratched the surface of what I'm capable of. Then once you do that, then you unleash the mind. You set it free because now it's going out and it's finding what you wanted to do. Before, it was programmed to find the negative. It was programmed to anchor you in negativity and darkness and pain because that's what you were focused on. That's what you were consuming. That's what you were holding on to. You were holding on to old paradigms. You were holding on to old assessments. You were holding on to old reflected appraisals, how other people were viewing you and how other people were assessing you. And then you sit up and you bought into it and it became the construct of your personal paradigm about how you function in this world. And then you had to go in and you have to reconstruct it. You have to break it. No, I'm not limited. No, I'm not intellectually inferior. No, I'm not intellectually challenged. No, I'm not locked into poverty for the rest of my life. No, I am not restrained and constricted to the constructs of a social paradigm that says this is the only way that I can get on. This is the only way that I can make it. This is the only way that I can stand up. No, I can do anything. And there are a million ways to do the one thing that I want to do. And just because I can't do it in the conventional vein of how it's always been done doesn't mean that I can't do it. I can literally construct in my mind and imagination a new way to do it. I can stand up, I can walk out, I can be anything that I set my mind to if I'm consistently engaged and committed to it. You are responsible for you. There are going to be people starting as early as your parents who may not be what you need them to be. There are going to be people like teachers who may only see your flaws and your fallibility. There are going to be peers who will go out of their way to point out what's wrong with you. And none of that can matter to you because none of those people at the end of the day are going to have to make the decisions that make the outcome. Now, your parents have a responsibility to you, but what you got to realize, there are so many parents out there that are broken. There are so many parents out there that were parented wrong. There are so many parents that just simply don't have the tools or the resources to be what you need them to be in your life, to plant the right seeds in your mind, to set you up for exceptional and extraordinary in the future. But you can't wait on, you can't lay everything and rest everything on what your parents didn't do or what your parents did wrong. You can't sit up and lay and rest everything on what didn't work. What you got to do is sit up and say, okay, this hasn't worked for me. This is what's been said. I'm going to examine some things. How many of these beliefs that I hold that lock me into a mediocre existence are really true? How many of these beliefs that lock me into a mediocre existence are actually true? How many of them are things that people said and I just accepted because those people were in a position of authority? My teacher, my preacher, my mom, my dad, my auntie, my grandparents. I am not, and nor will I ever be, limited to the lives and the experiences of the people who came before me. I can learn from them, I can examine, I can gain wisdom from them, but I can also learn what not to do. I can also learn what they haven't done that I can do. I can also challenge myself in ways that they may have never thought. But what I will not do is anchor myself into their unbelief. I will not anchor myself into their fears. I will not anchor myself into their mediocre ideas of what's exceptional. No, I'm going to challenge myself every day. I'm going to put on my best every day. I'm going to step out. Some days are going to be better than others. But what I will not do is step out there and say, this is all I have and this is all I can expect from the world. I'm going to demand great from the world. And then I'm going to return around and give all I have of myself so that I can take hold of the greatness that I've demanded. And that's what you've got to do. You're going to have to conquer it. Casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ, bringing every thought. That means that there are 70,000 on any given day, 70,000 thoughts moving through your subconscious that you're not even aware of. But they're stirring up ideas and thoughts that rise to the top and become ideas and things. That's why some days you're sitting up and you're in a good mood and all of a sudden you're not. Something that was moving around and stirring down that came to the surface. And before you know it, it took over your mood. It took over your personal state, your mental state, and it robbed you of where you were. And the thing is, you can do it the other way around. You can constantly feed. You can choose from the thoughts that are going through. You can accept what you're going to receive and you can reject what you don't want. You can start to manage and conquer the mindset at a level people never thought possible. And the more you manage it, the more you conquer, the more you meditate, the more you pray, the more you sit up and say, this is my mindset. This is what's important to me. This is what I will accept. This is what I won't accept. Guess what happens? The subconscious starts programming itself for you. It starts to say, he doesn't like that. So we're not even going to deal with that. The subconscious will say, we don't talk like that. So we're not going to accept that. If the subconscious will start identifying what's negative and pushing it away. That's the power of the mind. That's what God gave us. God gave us a mind that's so powerful that when we utilize it to think of things that have never happened in our lives, we can literally convince our minds and our brain that it's happened. We can convince our body on a cellular level that we've experienced something we've never experienced. This is how we heal ourselves when we are truly in the right frame of mind. This is how we speak things that are not and they as though they were and they become, because we have the power to create things that don't exist in our mind. If you can conceive it in your mind, it's God's evidence that it's possible. The thing is, are you willing to step into it? Are you willing to walk into it? Are you willing to live it? Are you willing to come out of what was old and walk into what was new? What is new? Are you willing to challenge yourself to be the best version of yourself each and every day so that each and every day you're a little bit better than the day before? You look up a year from now, a year and a half from now, and the person you see, you don't even recognize. Why? Because you stepped into the phenomenal. You casted down the arguments of mediocrity. You casted down the arguments of poverty. You casted down the arguments of minuscule existence and constant suffering. You've decided that that's not the life you're going to live. You decided that even in the darkness of certain circumstances, you were going to rise above the pain and become something that was important, something that was powerful, something that was remarkable, something that people could be blessed by. Even in the darkness, people are going to see your light shine because you decided that you weren't going to receive what destroys. You were going to challenge and seize what builds, what edifies, what empowers, what inspires. It's up to you. You're choosing every day how you're programming your mind by what you allow into your gates. What you allow. Now, sometimes it sneaks up on you, but you got to be willing to even say it. The old folks used to say it like this: when something they heard something that they didn't want to apply to their life, they say, I rebuke that. That was the way of saying I'm casting down that argument towards my life. I'm bringing my thoughts in captivity. I'm refusing to accept that. I'm not just going to sit back and passively be offended by it. I'm going to aggressively cast it down. There's power in that. Some of those things those old folks had, they didn't understand it all, but they understood casting down. They understood that I don't have to receive what you're saying about me. Media, I don't have to receive what you're saying about me. Family history, I don't have to believe what you're saying about me. Academic assessment, I don't have to believe it. I can sit up and decide that I'm going to be something that nobody's ever seen in my family, and I'm going to become it. I'm going to become the first one to graduate and get a degree. I'm the first one to get a doctorate. I'm going to be the first one to start my own business and multiply the. I am going to be something that my family can look at and say, "Oh," and then what? Now I can reach back and touch and heal and lift, because it's never really truly about me. I am representing the designer. And the designer wants every bun to flourish. So my job is to rise so that I can help other people rise. There's a blessing in my healing because I'm healing others. But you got to be willing to cast down the argument. You got to conquer your mind, master your mind. And once you master your mind and you teach your mind how to function on a conscious and subconscious level, when you teach it what's important, when you teach it what you will accept and what you won't accept, it will take over. It'll go out and it'll find all the things that edify, lift, empower, and it'll sit back and it'll challenge and rebuke and push things away. It'll make you uncomfortable when someone with the wrong energy walks in the room. It'll make you uncomfortable when people are talking in a way that is not edifying and that your spirit does not receive. It will set the standard in which you operate, but you're going to have to be willing to come out of the old. You're going to have to be willing to step out with a boldness and take hold of the things you say you want. We sit back and passively wish. Wishing isn't a plan. We wish, man, it would be nice. Man, I wish I could. Boy, if only. Stop saying I wish. Stop saying if only. Start saying I am. I am are the most powerful words in the English lexicon. You know why? Whatever follows sets the standard of the outcome of your life. When you say I am, whatever follows it is going to dictate what you become. Start speaking things that are not as though they were. Stop saying I wish and start saying I am. But then that's not really the truth. The truth is what you are determining in your life. You're not. See, the thing is, we get so caught in momentary circumstances. The only thing that matters to us is the present. The only thing that matters to us is the present. So we lose ourselves in the present moment. We get caught up in the circumstance and the circumstance becomes big. You need to be able to evaluate things from the past and use the past to be able to evaluate, but you also have to be willing and able to step out into the future and examine what's possible. And when you look at what's possible, it gives you an answer to the problem. So no, you may not be wealthy, but if you keep saying I'm broke, you will stay broke. If you start saying I'm wealthy, you're training your mind to, okay, what is this wealth thing about? Now your mind knows that wealth is important to you because you keep saying it. Now your mind is starting to capture. There is billions of bits of data moving around you every day. Your brain and mind has the ability to your subconscious mind has the ability to process 4 billion bits of that per second. Now, your conscious mind can only process 2,000, but that subconscious, like I said, it controls what? 96% of your behavior, 95, 96% of your behavior. So if you can master the subconscious, you can master your life. But what happens? As it's going around you, if you've told it wealth is important to you, it's moved wealth up to the top of the priority list. And now it's focusing on things about wealth. See, what you don't understand is your declaration about being broke isn't just talking, it isn't just acknowledging your current situation, that there's no cash in the coffers. What it's also acknowledging when you say I'm broke, what you also have to be aware of is there's nothing inside of the assessment or declaration of being broke that says I am seeking a solution. So the subconscious is never triggered to find the answer. By saying I'm broke, it's saying I am. Now, we just talked about what happens when you say I am. But if you say I am cash strapped, or I have a cash flow issue, but I'm wealthy, I'm working out. What it means is right now there's a cash flow issue, but we're going to solve it. The word issue says we're going to solve it. See, when we talk about dealing with issues, talking about dealing with problems, we're talking about solutions. See, a problem doesn't exist without a solution. There's no problem on this earth that does not have a solution. Just because you don't know it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. That's not how God designed this thing to work. Well, what happens is I got to have a conversation about who I am and how I move directly in correspondence to what I expect. So if I'm trying to get to wealth, I can't keep focusing on what I don't have and why I can't be there right now. I've got to start speaking it to the point that the mind believes it. The mind says, okay, if we got wealth, then we're not doing this anymore. And the subconscious says, okay, this is what wealthy people are doing because I read this on this, I saw this, and here's the other thing that'll happen. Things that you're consistently passing up now because it doesn't get your attention, because it doesn't sensationalize and grab your attention. When you start training your mind about wealth, the things that are seeming boring to you, that article on annuities, that article on diversification, that article on an asymmetric risk reward, that article on all these things that you're looking at and go, what the hell is that? And because you don't know it, you don't want to do it. All of a sudden, it starts to take priority over celebrity gossip. It starts to take priority over the latest in the sensationalism of what's hot on social media, the trends, the challenges. And all of a sudden, you're spending more time in the vein that you say that you want to be in. See, it's about what you commit to it. It's about what you give to it. It's about how you stand in it. It's about how you move. So what happens is stop talking your circumstance, start talking your destiny. I keep telling you that. Casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing every thought into captivity into the obedience of Christ. Then once you seize it, once you train it, you unleash it, because it can do on a subconscious level what you can never do on a conscious level. It can go out and find opportunities. It can create energy that you can't consistently maintain on a conscious level because too many things have to be focused on, and you can only focus on a couple of things in your conscious. The subconscious doesn't miss anything. It catches everything. The things you don't think you're catching. If it's happening, your subconscious is getting it. That's why it's important. You need to be very careful who you're around, what you're listening to, what's playing in the background, because that music that's playing in the background, that while you're having that conversation that you can't really catch, your subconscious is catching it and it's recording it. If your eyes scan a room, your subconscious count everything in that room. Your conscious count the things that was important to it. Now, the thing is, all that stuff is caught. Most of that's just going to the background, but it's part of the influence now. You'll probably never go in and pull it until you start really searching yourself and you start having these deep meditation moments where you're examining what's going on at the subconscious, and you start determining what thoughts you're going to accept and what thoughts you're going to reject. That's when you start to purify. That's when you start to detox the subconscious. That's when you start to purposefully program and fill your mind with the things that will advance you. Things that will sit up and you'll see a circumstance that you don't like, but you're never going to become shaken by it. Why? You're never going to become shaken by it. Why? Because you know there's a bigger outcome. There's a stronger force at play, that you're not locked in and held into some mediocre existence because something didn't go right in your life at a specific point in time. You start to see things differently. You start to see the blessings in life. I'm going to give you an example. This is a personal example. I don't know if my little sister is still on here. I know she checked in a minute ago. But one of the biggest issues I had, this is about my sister Shannon. This is one of the biggest issues I had as a child and a young man, is that I never knew my dad. When I tell you I never knew my dad, I never knew him. I never met him. But I had this big dream my whole life until I was 14 when he passed, that eventually we were going to come together and we were going to have this awesome father-son relationship. And he died. And when that casket went into the ground, it took my dream with it. And I got angry. I got angry. I was mad at the world because that had happened. And I eventually transformed that anger into energy. And I was in my 30s before I realized that these accomplishments that I was getting and achieving, the things I was doing that had people oohing and awing, was me trying to prove to my dead father that I was worthy of his love and his time like he gave my siblings. Enter Shannon, one of my sisters are just cool as hell, by the way. And I'm talking about all my siblings, but my sisters that are my paternal sisters, my father's children, they are just cool. I love them all, and they're so unique in their personalities. But my sister Shannon and I've had some conversations. We talk more than anybody. And I got to know my dad through her. And I got to see that while there were some issues that you can't ignore in why he wasn't there for me, that wasn't the totality of who he was. And the only way that happened for me is that I had to be willing to get out of the old, be willing to sit back and hear and understand that there was more going on than my circumstance. And the moment that I was willing to do that, my sister and I had these conversations, and I got to know things about my family, my paternal family that I didn't know. And it just opened up and it gave me a greater appreciation, number one, for my journey, number two, for their journey, number three, for what my father did. And I wrote my first book, The Invisible Father, Reversing the Curse of a Fatherless Generation. But I didn't write it from a point of hatred. There's no animosity in that book towards him. Why? Because I was willing to conquer my mind so that I didn't kill myself with bitterness, with anger, with hatred, with rage. There's even a development of love for the man, even though I didn't meet him. And I can't explain it totally, but I understand it's about what we view, how we view it, how we live. This thing gets big. You are where you're at because you are accepting what's being presented to you as your final reality. You're going to have to make up in your mind and say to yourself, no, this is not the only thing that can happen in my life. I am not going to accept poverty as my lot in life. I have the right to stand up and build wealth like anybody else. My path will be different. My path may not be as easy as the next person's, but my path is sure. If I stand up every day, if I work on the things that matter to me, if I'm consistent in my behavior, consistent in my thinking, consistent in my movement, there's no force on earth that can stop me. Now, I've got to put down this need for instantaneous results. I've got to put down this urge to get it all right now, or it's not meant. We put things down too quickly. We get caught up in, well, it ain't happened yet. It must be God's. It's not in God's plan. God's plan is to prosper you. Did you not read the Bible? To give you a future, to give you a hope, to prosper you. God will not withhold any good thing. The thing is, some of the things you want, you got to work for. You got to wait for. You got to be patient in. You got to build and develop. We want things to happen instantaneously and magically. And we done bought into a lot of the ideas and illusions that if it's good for you, if it's right for you, it's coming, it's going to be there. Yeah, you're going to have to get in it, though. You're going to have to put some blood, some sweat, some tears, some energy, some effort. You're going to have to invest in yourself. You're going to have to invest some time. You're going to have to invest some energy. You're going to have to invest some revenue. You're going to have to be all in. Oh, we don't like that. We want it, but we don't want the risk. We don't want the process. Can't escape the process. Process always precedes promise. You can't get the promise without enduring the process. So you can give that one up. But if you embrace the process, understand that it's uncomfortable. Understand that it has some demands on it to be patient and to be consistent and to be willing to go the distance, but it pays. It pays multifold. It pays beyond what you imagine. When you're willing to go when you're willing to go the distance, when you're willing to deal with the process, you're going to find that there is no end to what's possible in this world. That's my challenge to you. Look, you can do anything you set your mind to, but you got to shake free of the limiting beliefs that are anchoring you into your current state. You got to be willing to take an interest. I mean, if you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl, belly roll, whatever you got to do. But what you can't do is give up. So that's my challenge to you. And on that note, look, I'm gonna get out of here. Like I said at the beginning of this thing, there are 2 offers in here. They're only for today. Both of them are remarkable. The first one is the 7-day online business launch that has been $397, is now $207. But it's minus the $450 sessions that came with the other. But it's exactly what was supposed to be for $397. I threw the bonus in to get people to come work with me. But the 207, you're gonna get the complete package with all the video lectures and everything. Or you can pay the $397. I got both links in there. You can pay the $397 and you can what am I trying to say? You pay the $397 and you can get the 2 extras. Also, today only, the $2,595 Legacy Wealth Academy 6 to 18 month course in wealth building is $595. That's today only, and it's going back up to $20. I kept it at the introductory price of $997 for a year, and then we had to move it up because we got to recoup the cost of building out this program. This is years of research. This is years of interviews. This is years of challenging, and all of it is going to be available to you online. It's a resource like no resource. I haven't found anything like it. I'm not just saying that because I'm the creator. I'm saying that because I spent years researching it, and there's nothing. There are a bunch of great things with different parts of it. I put it all in there because I want you to have an access in so many different directions. It's so replete that you can take 10 to 15% of this and apply it, and your life is going to change. The more of it you apply, the more rapid and the more emphatically your life is going to change. This thing is something that, and I'm not giving you nothing that I'm not practicing. So again, that's in there, but that $595, I guarantee it's gone after today. And if you have any questions or something's wrong with the links, email me. There's all kinds of crazy stuff going on with my emails today. Email me at Rick Wallace, PhD. No, email me at Rick Wallace at Odyssey Media Group. Odyssey-mediagroup.com. So Rick Wallace at Odyssey-Media Group. And I'll get you whatever information you need. And hopefully by the end of the day, all these email issues and server issues that I have going on will be straightened out, trying to get it done. Anyway, don't miss this opportunity though. On that note, I'm out of here.